we must get our campaign off the ground and how to do that.
Yes.
All right, so quick reminder. Okay. Today we are gonna talk about survival skills for our advocacy and our campaign. Yet last week we talked about how to get our advocacy campaign off the ground. And being so, we must first take care of some points. The most important one is that your cause must be right. So that's what we have already spoken about last week. We've spoken about the rightness of your cause, the power of the advocates you are having, and also the thoroughness with which the advocates reach the issue and start thinking about the issue, and also the skill. Today we will speak about that point, which is the skills used by the advocates, and above all, of course, the effectiveness of your strategies and your tactics. So that's what we have spoken about last week. So let's jump into the next thing, which is the survival skills. So bear in your mind that we are speaking now after the campaign. We said that we will make the campaign when there is a problem concerning an institution or something, okay? And by that institution, that's doing something harmful for us. And by doing so, we will now start by presenting our campaign and taking our campaign off the ground by first thinking about the problem, planning for the problem and putting a massive plan, and later getting our campaign off the ground. And while doing so, we will seek help from other advocates. And after all of this, so after that point, we will now start speaking about the skills needed for that campaign to continue. So today we'll speak about what do we mean by the survival skills that will help us during our campaign. We will speak also about why do we need to use those survival skills in our advocacy campaign. And later we'll speak about how do we use the survival skills in the advocacy efforts. So in this section, we discuss survival skills for the successful advocates. This list has been compiled from experiences of many advocates, meaning that many people have already come to those skills and used those skills in their campaigns, and they were very successful. Yet it's by no means complete, meaning that it varies from one person to another, from one campaign to another campaign, because not all of the campaigns are addressing the same problem or the same issue. So it's not complete because it varies from one campaign to the other. Not all of those
Teacher, your
skills
screen is
may
not changing again.
my God, I hate the screens.
It's on the lobby.
Now good.
Yes.
All right. So once again, those survival skills are not complete, meaning that they vary from one person to another, from one campaign to the other. Again, we are speaking beyond the campaign. After we have started our campaign, so what are the skills needed for our survival? Survival here means during the campaign. So remember the example from last time about started to open a factory here, or a chemical company started to construct a factory in the middle of Riyadh. So we need them to stop doing so. We need to address them. That is wrong. So we will start by making a campaign and gather people and start to stop them. So while stopping them, of course, we will not do that in one day. It's impossible, right? We need to take time in order to stop them from completing the construction. Consequently, we need to survive. What are the skills needed for our survival? That's what we are speaking about today. And remember, the skills we will mention today, they are not complete, meaning that they do not be compelled for all types of campaigns. Because right now we're speaking about a company that's trying to construct something will be harmful to our environment. So we need specific skills. We need specific people and figures to stand by us. On the other hand, if the government is doing something bad, so we need other skills to address them. If another institution we are advocating about, so we need totally different skills. So the skills varies from one campaign to the other. With me?
Yes.
All right. Not all of the skills may be relevant to your own particular situation. So, the situation varies the skill. However, we feel may help to provide a solid basis for your own advocacy campaign, as they have been already viewed by many advocates and they are to be very awesome. So, question number one to be spoken about. What do we mean by survival skills for advocacy? Salman Suelam, can you read please?
Yes, teacher. Where?
What do we mean by survival skills for advocacy?
What do you mean by survival skills for advocacy? Advocacy survival skills are a set of general guidelines for building your case and for staying in the game long enough be successful. They have been used heavily by other advocacy camps. You and your group may want to review and adapt them as so you developed your strategy and tactics for community change.
Of your bid. Okay, so advocacy survival skills, guys, are just set of guidelines. So they are something that we use to guide us during our campaign. They are just guidelines for pleading our cause. So our cause here is the campaign we are making against an institution or a government or even a company. And for staying in the game, meaning that to survive as long as possible in order to continue in your own campaign, long enough to be, of course, successful to achieve your goal and stop the construction of that factory or change the government mind. They have used effectively, they have been used effectively by advocacy campaigns, meaning that many people you have already used the skills we will mention today. You and you, of course, want to review and adapt them as you develop your strategy and tactics for the community change. Meaning that while changing your community, is there anything in your community is changing? We need to alter our skills to cope with those changes. Question number two to be addressed. Why do we need to use survival skills for advocacy? How are those skills we will speak about will help us during our advocacy campaign? So, number one, Abdurrahman.
Yes, teacher. Teacher, again, your screen is not changing.
I believe the problem here is you put Abdurrahman, but I stopped and shared again.
What, teacher?
Can you see it now?
1 minute. Black screen. I see only black screen.
Try to log out and log in again, please, Abdurrahman, quickly.
Teacher, I don't think it's from me. Ask the others.
Guys, can you see my screen? Type in the chat if you can see my screen, please.
They say no.
Oh, no. Okay, stop sharing. Share again. Now,
Yes, it's clear now.
alright. So, the second why you need to use the survival skills for
I read why do you need to use survival skills.
please.
Success depends on much more than just dedicated people working for a common cause, although that's one necessary ingredient. This toolbox section talks about the golden rules for advocacy, that is, how to be effective in promoting your cause while keeping your head about you.
Alright, so what does this mean? Of course, while succeeding in our campaign that we are making against someone or some institution, okay, we just need more than dedicated people. Okay, if we are dedicated to our cause, if we are serious in our rightness of cause, of course, we can succeed, but not by 100%. So it's not only about those dedicated people, but working for common cause, okay, which is, of course, one main important ingredient in your recipe. So while making a campaign, you need dedicated people, but only dedicated people will not solve your problem and your issue. So the toolbox we will speak about today about the skills is called the golden rules. The golden rules. The golden rules for what? The golden rules for advocacy. Those golden rules will, for as much as possible, help us in our campaign, and that's how to be effective in promoting for our cause while keeping our head about us. Here means keeping our head about us to be successful in our campaign. Last question to be addressed before starting speaking about those skills is how do we use survival skills in advocacy efforts? Of course, none of these survival guidelines are set in stone, meaning that they are not plugged. They are flexible, varies from one person to another, one group to the other, according to the issue addressed from another issue addressed, one campaign to the other and one group to the other. They should be used to fit your own situation and your resources. For example, if we are addressing a factory that is being built or constructing, we would use some skills that are totally different while addressing the government, okay, while addressing another institution. All right, so they vary according to the situation and also the resources. They have benefited many previous advocacy groups, yet are not necessarily a recipe for instant success. So you cannot just use any random skill. You need your campaign to be successful one. It's totally impossible. The important thing is to study those guidelines and use what fits you, what you find useful and successful, and get you to the job. So far, so good.
Yes,
Okay, still can see the screen.
it's on 9:23 now.
9:23. That's 4 minutes late. I
Yes.
don't know what's wrong actually. Remind me again, please.
Black now, black screen, Classy.
What means loading? Okay, Ali. Okay, Ibrahim Kidari.
Yes,
I
now I
see.
can see.
All right, great. Okay, so to speak about again the survival skills for our advocacy, we need to mention the next. So, what are the survival skills for the advocacy? Number one, we need guidelines. So the guideline will help us after promoting for our campaign. And remember, please, once again, we're speaking beyond the campaign. So after we face the problem and we gather the people in order to make a campaign so that we can solve the problem. So we have already made the campaign. So now we're speaking about the skills used after we made the campaign. So while doing so, we will have first the guidelines used successfully by other advocates' efforts. So I'll see, for example, Abdurrahman and his group have faced some situation and they advocated for it and they used several skills. So I'll use the skills that they used and try to fit them in my own situation. Another thing, why have survival skills for the advocacy? Because they need to be effective in promoting for our cause, for our campaign, the rightness of the cause, if you can still remember. So again, here, the effectiveness of our cause. Survival skills for advocacy also. Number one, count with me. The accentuate the positive. Number two, emphasize our organization. Emphasize that our organization accomplishment to the community, meaning that, for example, right now we are making an advocacy campaign in order to solve a problem or an issue. So we will speak to the people about our campaign, about our organization and how we are trying to solve the problem of the community right now, and we are doing some rightness of the cause. And by doing so, we will gather more allies and ask more people to join us in our campaign, and consequently, the campaign may be successful. Later, we will speak also about how to plan for small wins, because always small wins leads into big ones. By winning just one ally will enable you for a variety or a window of other allies. So small wins always are good. Just a piece of a cake will help you. Number four, we need also to present the issues as we want others to see. So right now, from my own point of view, I can see a problem. I can see a problem from my own point of view. Okay, this must not be a problem from your own point of view. Consequently, if I told you that this is a problem, you would say no, because our points of view varies. We do not see them as each other. I see something and you see something different from your own perspective. Consequently, while presenting an issue, okay, we need to present that issue from our own point of view and let others see that issue from our own point of view. Consequently, they will join our campaign. How also to develop for our own public identity. How to let other people see us, know about us, and join our campaign. Still, how to check for the facts. Are we making some progress? Are we not making any progress? Is our cause a right one? And keep it simple, always and forever. Try to keep it as simple as possible so that ordinary people will understand you and join your campaign. We also must be passionate and persistent. To be passionate about your cause, to just keep on track, never to side away, to start by addressing people about your cause passionately, urge them, try to trigger their emotions so that they can join you, and be persistent, never to give up, never to surrender, because once you stop, other people will not join you, then you will not make any difference. So we need to be passionate, and also we need to be persistent, one of the most important two skills, and must be prepared to compromise. So by being prepared, we have said at the last session last week, before even getting our campaign off the ground, we must first put a massive plan. We must think carefully of the issue and put a massive plan, including all the small details and what may or may not happen. After that, we must trigger our allies to join us. So be prepared to compromise, to make a change, and just have the ability to change the situation and make the people join you. And we must also be opportunistic and creative. So once we see an opportunity that can help us in our campaign, we must take advantage of it, just like that. So take any opportunity and be creative to alter that opportunity to help your cause or your campaign. And stay on course. So never to side away. The same thing as being persistent. Skill number 12 is looking for the good in others. So, for example, I'm making you joining my campaign, and some of you are not so good. So I'll just see the good in you and try to use the good in you for my own campaign, and that will change you. And when the people see you doing so, they will for sure join your campaign. We must also keep our eyes on the prize, which is changing the situation that is being harmful. Remember, we make a campaign only when we see something that is harmful even for us or for our environment. So keep our eyes on the prize. The prize here is stopping the harmful of something, and makes issue local and relevant. So if, for example, we're speaking about the factory that is being constructed in Riyadh. So this factory is making some issues. He is increasing carbon dioxide in the air. So we'll take that issue and make it relevant to our own campaign. We will include that issue in our campaign, and consequently by that, people will start to think, oh, those people are right. This factory is making some bad effects on our environment, so let's join their campaign in order to stop the construction of the factory. And get broad-based. Remember the allies? Broad-based support from the start, which are the allies, the people who will join your campaign, that we have already spoken about. Work within the experiences of your own group member. Okay, so just deal with what you know. If there is any problem, anything that is not coordinated with you, you do not know, just keep it away until you get someone experienced enough to share his own experience with your group. Last but not least, to try to work, that's number 17, I believe, to try to work outside the experience of your opponents. So, for example, my opponents are experienced in the construction field, so I'll work out of that field by presenting some other facts or something that they do not know anything about. Consequently, I'll make other people doubt them. Skill number 18, to make our opponents play by their own rules. So, of course, here this varies from one situation to another. Sometimes you need them to play by their rules, sometimes you need them to play by your own rules. As you are presenting an issue or dealing with an issue, this will vary from one situation to another. We must also tie our advocacy group's efforts to related events. So we are making the change in the community. We need to make the change or what we have done to the community relative to our own campaign so that other people may join us. And last but not least, enjoy yourself. After all, we're doing something good for the environment and for our community. The whole idea behind the advocacy campaign is to solve a problem in your community. So enjoy yourself. You're doing something good. Remember the rightness of your cause. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, I hope you got the idea. And that's gonna be it for today.